That like they had a little bit. They didn't have a trailer, but for Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford, they had a little thing.
No, no,
So
I
it was
never see anything.
yeah. He was on. I guess he came up on stage. Harrison Ford did and
Oh,
talked
cool.
about it. So we're back another week. Excited. So it's a lot less books this week. So we're talking a little bit about all that and jump into it. We might hit on the Star Wars celebration that started today. It's going all weekend. Lots of announcements already, um, and hopefully get you excited about that. If you haven't, you'll maybe jump out. You probably already have. If you're watching us more than likely you probably knew at like 2 o'clock when they announced the first show, and then 2:15 when they announced. But
Probably guarantee you know more about it than I do.
but yeah, we're gonna look at a little bit of that and jump into that. But first, let's as always jump into comics and talk comics. Joe, what'd you grab this week?
What didn't I grab this week is the problem. Batman Beyond Dark Knight, White Knight thing. God, I got a bunch of other stuff. Let me look. Let me go back. Oh, Saga. Dang it.
It's always tough because it's like mixed in with like, well, I got this crappy dollar book that I'm the only person that would ever buy.
Right. Bloodstained Teeth, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And one more thing that I can't think of that was new.
Yeah.
I looked at that Spectro and I was I was tempted. Oh, I picked up Pearl.
Okay.
And the Recount preamble.
Oh, preamble. Have you read the other ones?
No.
The nice thing is the preamble's a prequel, so like
right,
you can actually read them in order now.
Yeah, I got it now. I was like, oh, that was a good thing that I picked that up. Yeah, I didn't know what the interiors were going to be like, so I just picked it up and it looked pretty good. It's kind of like Sorrentino. So I'm always good with that. Yeah, I went to 3 shops this week. It's third. I went Tuesday and to get the DC stuff, and then I went Wednesday, and then I went today. So I'm kind of stupid. Thanks a lot for
you're welcome
helping me do this, jerk face.
Yeah, I didn't actually hit the new comic books days. I did pick up some old stuff. Picked up a bunch of Spawn. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw me post about that. Grabbed a few other things. I picked up we'll talk about this in a second, but I did get the Philadelphia McFarlane cover I actually like versus the one that Department of Truth comes out with.
Yeah, I like that one a lot better.
I like this. This is for $12, and it still has value. It's like a $10-15 book. But yeah, and then I got, a bunch of Spawn, recent Spawn. So it's like sort of weird. Then of course you can't pass up these when you see them.
How many of those have you had? Give or
I've
take?
had quite a few. It's one of those weird ones, like
20, 30.
I do have one signed by McFarlane.
I found that for you.
But I have another one. Did you know that? I have one that's signed by him and McFarlane and Stan Lee.
Oh, nice.
But it's PGX, so those are either CGC, PGX snobs. It was PGX, which speaking of, because I threw this on our slide, and Joe, I know you're not a slab guy. Do you have any slabs?
Yes, I have one.
What is it?
First appearance of Jason Todd as Red Hood.
Oh, nice. So
but it's like an 8.5. I just grabbed it because it was cheap, and I was like, I don't even have this book, so I paid like $30 for it or something. I was like, this is amazing. So, yeah.
I have a few, probably maybe 30 or 40, but it's ones I've slowly collected them. I found them cheap. A few of their big ones I really like. But I don't know if you probably didn't. CGC this week came out with they're taking things off their label. So like if you bought a CGC book and it was like a 3.5 or 2 or whatever, they would put things on there like why it was a 2. So they would say like rusty staple or a sticker or tape and like put those things on the labels. They no longer do that. Now the greater notes are free. You used to have to pay. You had to be a CGC subscriber. Now they're free. But from the eBay perspective, that means as a buyer, it says it's a 3.5, but it looks amazing. Well, you got to go figure. Maybe it just needs a press. Well, now you're gonna have to go look it up. So some people are really sort of mad about it. Some people like it. If I had one that said Rusty Staple, I might send it back in to have it not say Rusty Staple. It still might be a 3.0, but
But
it doesn't say Rusty Staple as being the reason.
right.
So
So they're going to get more businesses basically.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly their times are a little bit faster than they during the pandemic they got overwhelmed. So
yeah,
but
I knew that.
All right, let's jump in. So jump in as always. Opening slide. We're gonna look at this. Jump in and look at some of these books. So if I can get my mouse in the right spot, we'll talk about each one of these 3 books on the covers. But let's talk a little bit about last week, Joe. It was MegaCon last week. That's the first big con. There's been cons, but this is like the first big con that stores and artists and people line up to go to, and they have tons of exclusives and people I follow on Instagram, friends of mine they all went to MegaCon. Whatnot Comics had a big thing where they would actually like do their auctions, and the artist would do the remarks right there, and you'd bid on the book as he was doing the remarks.
Wow, that's cool.
So because Whatnot had that, it was that terrible idea I had with you and I that didn't work out for either of us or at all. But theirs was like, like I watched it on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's like a legit like camera and legit little setup they had going.
They better be doing it right.
So, but one of the big books that was a hot seller. There's a couple of them that are big books, but this is one of them. The Department of Truth. We talked about it last week. This is the 1 from 100 Todd McFarlane cover looks like this, but this is the foil version. The 1 from 100 is going for 150-ish, and then this is going for around 200. Most of the listings I see are 200 or more.
Wow.
So, and of course, James Tynion was there and Simmons, so you could get them to sign the books. And I think that's what this image I stole off eBay. That's what I think this is they're both signed by them.
Nice.
The only other, it's as amazing as many as books there were last week that we were excited about. And I think the books sold, but as far as spec value, I don't see them jumping. The only other one I see climbing is this Power Rangers Universe 6, the negative space variant. So 1 for 50. There's one auction right now. It's at 77 with bids still left to go. And the 1 for 50 is one of these negative space do, especially if you've already got 1 or 2, you want to complete the set. So it makes it even sort of have more value. If I could get it for under ratio, yeah, I might jump on it, but that's more of a flip thing than it would be for owning sake. I mean, I have a handful of Power Rangers books intermingled in I need to put those on eBay, but type thing.
You're not a huge Power Rangers fan?
I honestly never given them a chance. So it's one of those like, maybe I am. I just haven't sat and read them. I mean, I read Radiant Black. So, I mean, that's written by the guys who are writing Power Rangers. Kyle Higgins started off on Power Rangers, and now he's doing Radiant Black. So, I guess the biggest release this week is James Tynion, or Tiny Onion, however you want to say his name. This, I don't not, and Joe, you've read more of his stuff than I have. Yeah. He's not a one-trick horse. His books are actually pretty good, but can he keep carrying these series and making them these mega series like Department of Truth, Something's Killing the Children, his Batman run, and then the one that you want to talk about a little bit later, Nicest House on the Lake. I mean,
yeah,
he's masters of the art of promotion, but also maintain the integrity of his writing and storytelling better than Kate, which would be because Kate's has down the promotion, but everything I hear, his writing is just it's okay. It's not as good as it was when it started.
I think the difference is that Tynion, besides Batman stuff, it's all kind of creator own stuff. So it's things that he's excited about. That makes it a lot easier to write than a Batman book where you've got to put spoiler in it. And you're super excited about spoiler or not, I've enjoyed about half, which is, I mean, that's amazing. It's kind of like with Tom King, like that we've talked about. Like, if you like half of what somebody's writing, like they're batting 500. That's amazing. Yeah. So I don't know. This one doesn't really interest me. It feels too juvenile. I do like the Shavli.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one is the one to go for. But we'll see. I mean, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you know this?
just looking at all 50,000 covers,
Yeah,
and you
because
know
there's so many store variants, guys. This
yeah, it's nuts.
every store jumped on this one, so that's another thing. When we tell you this every time, if there's lots of store variants, that one for 25 and that one for 50 are not as rare because they have to. I think Image is probably now you have to get at least 1,000 copies. Maybe they let you get away with 500, but I still feel like it's 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Did this book start in his Substack?
I don't know. I dropped it.
Yeah. I was curious, like, because I know he's probably getting to that right at that weird spot of stuff that he started in his Substack.
Yeah, because they all like jumped ship 9 months ago or something. So
And
it's about time for things to start trickling in.
Well, and he was one that he already had his newsletter, and he already had his store set up and all that. His Razor Blade horror magazine that he did, and like, so he already had built his ecosystem. But I do know that of his Substacks, his little $250 get the variants. Every one of those variants that comes out seems like people list them for $200.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them you get for $250. They're like gold foil versions of whatever cover he likes from his book that came out. I think there might be a foil version of Department of Truth, this last one.
Yeah, these writers and artists who are like starting to play the spec game and the like cover game. I mean, it's good for them. Like they can sell a book that they have literally $4 in or whatever for 25, $50, $100, $200. Like, great. Like Mike Mayhew is like the king of selling everything that he's ever done.
Oh yeah.
And he keeps pulling stuff out of the boxes and then posting them. Hey, I've got 6 more of these. And I'm like, man, I love you, dude. He's such a salesman.
What's the number for Hickman? Did he just hit 3 million? What's it?
No, on Substack, I think it's close to 10,000.
10,000. It was yes. So 3 million, way off. It was whatever the number was. I was like, damn, that's just impressive. Because I mean,
think about 25 to 30% are paying.
Yeah, but whether that's the year or the believer pledge or whatever, but
right. So even like the lowest pledge, I think is $7 or $8 a month. Yeah. So that's a fair chunk of change. Like
it keeps you doing it, and I like how Hickman did it because it's not just Hickman; it's like him and Hawthorne and Del Mundo.
Yeah, Huddleston. Yeah, and Del Mundo and like Christian Ward's is part of it, and like tons of people, and that's pretty cool. I like how he's like basically made his own little production company for his stories, which is super smart. Like, and I guess Mike Huddleston is basically Mike Huddleston and Mike Del Mundo are the art directors, so they're doing lots of character design and then passing it on to other.
What's up, Comic Crazy?
What's up, Crazy? So I don't know. I haven't seen a physical book yet from a Substack.
Yeah. So, but I also don't pay for any of them, so that's part of it too.
Right, that's true. Which again, I mean, I think that's one of the weird things about the Substack idea. If you just go through Image and then you have, 20,000 copies of your book out there instead of a portion of the people who subscribe to your Substack are buying your book. Like, that's weird to me.
Yeah.
Especially for these guys who have literally global reach.
Yeah.
For what they're doing. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. It's Miles.
Guys, if you've been following me, you've heard me. I don't want to call it pumping because I mean I bought the Kool-Aid too. If I was pumping it, then I would have not told you anything about the book that everyone already knows about.
Right.
This is Miles Morales, 38. as you can see on the cover, this is the first Billy Morales as a teenager. He goes to Miles has been dimension hopping. So this world he actually jumps into this world in issue 37. And then 38, he's in this world where his evil clone didn't die, and now his Selim is the evil clone, and he is now master of the world. So it's that's what they jump into. And so supposedly Billy's like a teenager here, his sister, and then I can't ever say
Genki,
Gank
yeah.
is like an old war, looks like almost like
General,
a Punisher, General Genki.
Yeah, he definitely has Punisher vibes in that cover A. Because I like it. I looked at it pretty hardcore.
Well, Doreen Clark does some pretty good covers. She's been doing a lot of them.
Yeah, this Miles, the parts of this Miles run from currently that they've been on has been really good.
Yeah, I mean, I picked it up and read it, and then put it down and read it again. But you can actually pick up some of their little art. Like, it's really good you don't have to be following the entire thing necessarily. If you can pick up at the clone part and you can read that, or you can pick up when he tells his parent. I mean, it's pretty good. And then of course there's a 1 for $25, and there's also a 1 for $50, and a 1 for $10 design variant. On the 1 for $25 and 1 for $50, you do get this sort of bad guy on the right. You can see he's on the 1 for $25, and you'll see it's called the spoiler variant for the 1 for $50 by Scan. So just keep that in mind for prices. I've seen stores already start listing this for $25 and $30 for the 1 for $25, but I've also seen it for $20. I imagine lots of stores, because this is my first drink in the Kool-Aid of buying 10 copies from an online store just to hope that it hits. So we'll see. I didn't want to go and buy every cover at the store and pay $4 a pop. I'd rather pay 35% off or whatever.
Yeah, that's smart.
So
where did you buy them?
I did T-Fall this time. I'm trying. Yeah. Can't decide if I like it or not. I made the mistake of doing 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks you're supposed to send me my books, and that was a mistake because the first 3 or 4 pre-orders I did, it ended up only being like one book. So I pay shipping on one book being mailed to me, so I'm paying $8 for a book that I barely wanted. Like, right. It only pays off to do the shipping feature if you're getting multiple books, like 10, 15 books, to where it pays off. Or if you live in a place where you can't. T-Fall has them, DCBS, my comic shop, lots of them do them. I'm trying T-Fall, see if I like it. If not, I might go back to my LCS. I'd always hate going to your LCS and go, can you order me 10 copies of this book but I don't want you to buy 100 copies unless you're going to send me the variant.
I mean, you're in pretty good with them. I don't feel like you should have a problem doing that.
I don't know. I've gotten the stank out a few times when they talk about speculators, and they know, hey, you have a video and the website that is the reason that people call us and ask about a book no one's cared about for months.
Yeah, that's Nelms. All right, colors we like. Here's Kelly Jones. I like all of the A covers for this too, because they're like these digital paintings that the artist who does the interiors does. They're great. I love this book.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like it, but I do.
Yeah, crazy to see. You do my comic shop. Yeah, I definitely buy from them. My thing is the ratio is hard. You got to time it right if you want the hot ratio, whenever they drop them. But yeah, if you just want regular ratios, I mean, I've definitely bought a few on there, and they always have plenty. So I mean, but it is like, okay, Wednesday morning when they drop the ratios, you can buy them. But yeah, that's good. Yeah, Black Panther, just because it's Black Panther. Yeah. I don't, from reading the solicitation, I don't think the Tosin's in it, but who knows? He could be. There. You sure you want me to share that information? So those of you watching, 11 a.m., where depending on the time zone, is when they drop on my comic shop. So now you just gotta be quick. So that's revealed. Thank you for sharing with me. So now I know what to do. I will not be sorry, I'm not working during that during 11 o'clock, so I can score some of those ratios. Hey, speaking of, here's one that I definitely want. If I'm going to do the Miles, this is the Scan variant, but it's probably I haven't seen that. I know there's a few store ratios or store exclusives for it, but it'd probably be the one I'd go after. honestly, I just picked some. It was hard this week, guys, to find
Yeah.
enough covers to show. This is Justice League Road to Dark Crisis #1, 1 for 25. I do sort of like this cover. Have absolutely no idea what's going on. I didn't read the Free Comic Book Day book. Did you read that one, Joe?
Nope.
So I don't know. I know this is the big DC event this summer, the Dark Crisis or whatever. So this is the road to it. Who knows if there's a new character? I mean, there's a Frankenstein-looking character with a sword and some
Right.
electric girl. So maybe it's Killer Frost or
We're really good at this comic.
yeah. Obviously, we follow
Everything.
Yeah.
It's impossible to know everything, I feel like.
Yeah. But we claim. I don't even want to claim. We don't even claim to know it. The crap that we know is stupid embarrassing.
Oh yeah, totally embarrassing. I'm kind of interested in this Jonathan Luna book.
Have you
like
read Alex and
straight
Ada?
up? No. I've heard it's okay.
Yeah. What was the other one they did? Luna Brothers or Swords?
Yeah.
Luna Sword.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I flip through them at the logo.
Yeah. They're always
in
in
the
the dollar bills.
They're always in there. Yeah. But this is like throwback to like 90s era.
Yeah.
Image. It looks like so.
It's supposed to be. Is this a character? And I don't know this character, but is this a character from one of the '90s comics? In the solicitations, it says the original.
Right. Yeah. I don't know either. It's hard to know every character from the all of the imprints from Image when they first started.
Yeah, because each guy had his technically own imprint, all under the umbrella of Image for a minute.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like, Silver Street just rocked out that whatever he did and made billions and
Cyberforce.
Youngblood and
Liefeld.
All the Wildstorm people are still around. So there's still stuff around. I'm a big fan of when they brought Prophet back. You remember that?
That was
10 years ago.
A really good spin.
It's weird. I love it. I actually just bought another trade for cheap that I didn't have because I'm that guy. And still really get into it. It's a good that I really like when you reinterpret something the Rob Liefeld or whatever doing Youngblood, and then that Prophet character is terrible, but then they brought it back and it's pretty like a great reimagining of it.
Yeah.
So what is this guy?
Have you been following Avengers Forever at all?
No.
So I've read a few of the issues. I haven't read it all the way through. Basically, it's what Exiles was 2 years ago. They're dimension hopping, going to different places, and it's like Ghost Rider and someone else doing it or whatever. But you've gotten to meet a different Moon Knight from a different planet. You've gotten to meet a different Red Skull who's like a Black Skull or whatever. You've gotten to meet all these different characters. So this is Vibranium Man. Don't know a whole lot, but like Captain Carter. So it's just, these are good books if you buy them at cover or less. You never know with the what ifs. Heck, Captain Carter for a hot minute was a really, really hot book, and they're going to bring her in. They think to the MCU or the TV show world or whatever. So
yeah,
you never know which character they'll latch onto or how they're going to spin them. So it's just something to look out for. I think I have a copy of this coming. That's one of my T-Fall books that I had come, but
that's terrible. That's a terrible name.
Yeah,
but I do like the design.
But Marvel's not exactly known for great names. They're usually a little
Spider-Man. Come on,
The Incredible Hulk.
All right, what else you got? Oh, I didn't even see this. It's crazy good.
These are covers I really like, but two of them are on books I would never buy.
Right.
So this is
not into Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, you got on the left is Christian Ward,
who we're a big fan of here on the channel.
But notice he didn't do red. Oh, he did red, but not his dye. He's usually always very flat background, red. But man, this is reminiscent of his. He did a Once and Future cover that was gorgeous, where this demon character's coming out of the water.
Yeah, cool.
But this cover's gorgeous. Jim's Jim Henson Storyteller Shapeshifters #4. I mean, I know every store is collecting 25 copies of this.
Yeah, like there will be 4 of these in the world.
Yeah, and no one's going to care, even though it's a gorgeous cover. Until Christian Ward has a following, become like Jeff Deckles. Have you seen what's happening with some Jeff Deckles stuff?
No.
We did an article about him on Friday or last week. Van did one, but slowly people are starting to take notice. Deckles is not a bad artist. Some of his stuff's pretty cool.
He's very good.
But he has some early stuff that's near impossible to find. So, like, if you find some of his early books, it's like, oh, that's a gorgeous cover, and I've never seen it before. This is awesome. So, some of his are climbing because of that. I mean, I have. There's one on a really crappy series called It was a couple of books called Double Take, and they basically did the zombie stories from like 10 different perspectives, and it went for 5. Each series went for 5 issues. But you had artists like, let's see if I have one. I actually found a set of them. But you have artist Deckel did one cover. He did 3 covers out of like the 50 different books. He did 3 covers for one for each like different series, and then like David Nakayama did a cover, and then people you've never heard of did covers. They're gorgeous, but no one cared. It was a novel thing for a comic book because you could buy all 10 at once in a packet. So it was just sort of that's why they called it Double Take, I guess. But yeah, and then you get this Del Mundo. But then here's Once and Future.
Yeah,
I love this series. I think it's really good. I like the fact that these 1 for 25 seem to be rare, but everyone keeps talking about them. So I don't think they're as rare as people talk about them anymore. But you can't find them because people that like the series buy them and they don't resell them. Not too many stores buy these books. They don't buy 100 copies. They buy 25 copies and sell their one. So, I missed out on last ones. I hope to get this one when it comes out, but I struggle paying over ratio for any incentive. So, yeah. Comic You Crazy, we are on the same page. Love me Once and Future. I am trying to put together a collection somewhat on the cheap of all the covers, which is really hard to do. Because I keep wanting to have the spike that Something to Only Children have, but then I'm like, but would I actually sell them? But yeah,
I don't think you would.
I have lots of books I should sell before.
Yeah, for sure.
Indie Spotlight. This is your book, or not your cover. I chose this is the B cover to Latte, but you've read or you not read. You looked at because you can't read this book.
Right. Yeah, it's great. A lot better than Coda, the last thing he illustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, next week there's a lot of books I'm going to go buy, but they're not going to be worth anything. Like this won't be worth anything.
You said Firepower. There's like
Firepower, Little Monster. Like, all kinds of good indie stuff coming out.
And guys, it's hard to throw all those covers because even the covers are okay. They're not great. Like the Firepower, I might get the Finch one, or I might get that Japanese name person. I like his covers on those. But yeah, you're right. I mean, for Joe and I, we'll probably pick them up and read them or wait for the trade. But
yeah, I've been buying so much stuff because of the show. Just because I'm so in the know. I've never been this in the know before. So I'm like, I'm already looking towards next week already.
Oh yeah.
Like, and the week after, and I'm like texting you about stuff that's coming out in August, and like that's terrible.
Yeah.
That I pre-ordered Mandalorian covers, like, and that's not until July. Like, I've never done that. I paid more money for Mandalorian covers because it's David Aja than I ever have for anything ever.
So yeah. Once you start watching these shows or reading these articles, you go, damn, I was just happy going in the shop. Now I know that this one has potential, so I need to get all the. I like to read them too. That's the hard thing. Like Devil's Reign, I'm like, crap, I gotta get them all because I want to read them all.
That's my major problem is because of doing this, I'm aware of all of these, like this new Think, like this is Dedeo Jr., right? Yeah. And Lou Ridge. So it's like, well, I'm gonna read anything those guys do.
Well, it's Hurwitz who
Yeah.
just wrote Knighted, but he's also did Vengeance of the Moon Knight. I actually read his books that he wrote. They're
Oh,
just
really?
they're not they're just fun. Like
Yeah.
Joe, you wouldn't. Well, if you want to turn your brain off and just read a spy
Right.
thriller, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you Joe is always into reading like true modern literature, like
Yeah.
Cormac McCarthy, and
I mean, that's another reason why I read comics.
Yeah.
Is because you can't stay up here reading David Foster Wallace all the time. Like your brain will melt. But
as to where I stay in comics and kids' books. Oh yeah, and then I occasionally read a book with more than 10 pages.
Right.
So.
This new thing, though, I mean, this is a new thing for AWA. It's an anthology series, and every issue is a different creative team.
Yeah.
So they're all one shot, one stories. Like he hadn't done that yet.
Yeah, they have had a few. Oh yeah, they haven't done that piece. They've had like the guy that's writing Hotel. Every book is a different horror story.
Right.
That type of thing. But having different people write, they haven't done that at all.
Yeah. This is like the solicitation says it's kind of like Black Mirror, which it's one of the best TV things you can watch. If you haven't watched any of that, it's great.
It's one of those shows that people love if they see it, but then no one's seen it. Of course, everyone always refers back to the pig episode.
Right. I think that's the first one.
Yeah,
right?
the first one. And so if you can't get past that one, it's all right.
Yeah. It's kind of like The Office. The first episode of The Office is so terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot watch this. This guy reminds me of this guy I went to high school. Nutties. Yeah. And he's awful. And kind of the same feel. Yeah. But I'm excited about this book. I'll be the only guy excited about it. But
I don't know.
Cool.
I pretty much pick up every AWA that comes out. They're at least the ones, because they're really good.
Yeah.
In the center
I've got a bunch of number ones, and then you've seen on my pickups that I send you on texts. I've been slowly collecting all the trades.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are good reads, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
there's only
been a few duds.
Yeah. But they're not bad duds. They're just
Yeah.
Walking Dead here. This is just a good cover. This is Julian JTT or Julian Tedesco, whatever you say his full name. Yeah. I love the way he plays with once again white cover. But
yeah, we're both a sucker for the white, but we are both a huge fan of this guy.
Yeah. So I mean, and some of his covers, guys, if you don't know who he is, some of his stuff is near impossible to find. Now, granted, a lot of that's incentives, but there's some.
Yeah.
He's
that Daredevil run he did is just some of my favorite stuff. It's so good. I wouldn't have thought to look at the deluxe Walking Dead, but I know they've had some good covers.
Or not 3.
40.
This is but it's issue 40, but it's cover D. That's what I meant.
Right. Yeah. It's
like Del Mundo's done a run. Tedesco, this is his second time through, where he'll do a run of 5 or 6 covers, and they're just amazing.
Nice.
Finch, if you're a Finch guy, Finch has done covers for this.
I haven't seen the numbers. I wonder how they're selling.
I mean, I haven't seen either. Walking Dead's died. I know the first 12 or first 10 all got second prints. But since then, but Walking Dead itself has died. There's just enough interest that people are buying. Like the Walking Dead fans are still buying. But as far as like building up new fans, not quite sure if it's doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering.
Hey guys, we're done. No, there's literally there's just 2 slides of this. We've talked about. I read the first issue of What's the Furthest Place from Here.
Me too. I love the covers, and I like how it's paced.
Yeah. I
like the black pages that they use for the chapter breaks. There's a lot of good things. I didn't love the world building.
Yeah.
In the first issue, so I haven't picked it up. I'll probably read the trade eventually. I do love the covers. Every cover, I love this font.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that I do like about this book, but it may be one of those things where you got to read 3 issues before you're like.
Yeah, this is the one for 25 Christian Ward cover. So once again, giving a little love to one of our favorites.
We are fans for sure.
And did you see this?
Yeah.
This cover. Oh my God! This is the one for 25 Chloe Pham, he's one. Shout out to him. He was the very first ever interview I ever did on my podcast.
Yeah.
me, Mr. Nobody. He agreed to hop on our show with us. But this cover is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
and I don't,
great.
yeah.
I had never heard of him until he was on your show either.
And then
And
you start going back through his. He's like, "Oh, you did that book, and you did that
yeah,
book."
yeah, he's pretty awesome.
So, but yeah, guys, there wasn't a ton. There wasn't a whole lot to look at. But as you always, like and subscribe. But guys, if you want to hang around a little bit longer, we're gonna talk just briefly about the Star Wars celebration that started today. Mainly because Joe didn't really pay attention. I paid a little bit of attention. You
I
guys
did
might have paid
not.
even more attention.
Oops.
But Star Wars celebration this time it's in Anaheim, California. I think they alternate between California and Chicago. And
Mm.
with Disney Plus being what Disney Plus is now, it is such a big deal because they're always dropping hints and talking about their new shows they have coming out. So one of the new shows is a Jude Law show called Skeleton Crew, where it's going to take place on John Watts is directing it. It's going to take place on like another planet, and it's basically like a coming of age story for a group of kids, just in the Star Wars universe. I don't think there's any.
Oh,
I don't. From
all
what I
it's
there's no
all new
connection to any
characters.
yeah, all new characters. I don't know if there's a comic book. I mean, I'm sure there will be appearances of random ones just because they like to do that, but it'll be an all just like Mandalorian was all new. The main people were all new.
Right. That's
So,
cool. I
of
had no idea about that. That seems cool.
course, season 3
I've heard of that.
this February 2023 is when this is supposed to come out. So
Yeah.
sort of exciting. I think there's a few images they've dropped on this. Hopefully they learned their lessons from what they tried to do with Boba Fett, and they're just going to let John Favreau or direct them all. Or
Yeah. Or I mean, I feel like let's not get into that. But the Mandalorian comic book comes out in July.
Yeah.
And I was kind of disappointed because it's just season 1 in 8 issues.
So yeah,
like I have no idea why they are not like prequeling Din Djarin's life. I mean, just he's more badass than Boba Fett now, so they could just like it could all be one shots of just him going to collect a bounty and just make him so crazy.
But when you're talking about television and you're talking about comics, you don't want a comic book writer creating something that they might in 4 years because the show is still successful. Oh crap! Well, they said this. Is that lore, or do we need to make it legends, or whatever?
Well, I just feel like I would be so excited about that book.
And I'm sure that, and it is. And as you talk to more people, comics give the creativity, but that's not what makes them money. Disney Plus makes the money right now, so everything's gonna be based around them, and then they're just gonna get comic people happy. Yeah. So the Mandalorian will have 100,000 copies.
How was Rescue Rangers?
I have not watched it yet.
Really?
I've won because it's live. I don't want my daughter to be scared half to death, like of this talking while there's a person. It's PG, so it's like okay, I'll wait. I'm gonna watch it myself and then decide.
Okay,
so
let me know.
I will. Did you know they were doing this? Andor?
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, I love Diego Luna.
And Rogue One does not get the credit. It's beginning to get the credit.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it is very like I've rewatched it. I watch it a lot more than I watch Solo.
Yeah.
And they kind of came out around the same time or whatever. Diego Luna is solid. Anything I've ever seen him in, I've been like, man, this guy can act. And this is who's directing this stuff? Tony Scott?
Sure.
Somebody? I mean, it's somebody huge. Like it has 12 issues, and it's going to be 3 issues. It's 12 episodes. It's going to be 3 seasons. Like they've already planned all this.
Oh wow!
So that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing they've. Like, I think they've pumped more money into this than they have the Mandalorian because they've used so much like set building and like they're not using the volume as much.
Yeah.
It's like hardcore. Yeah, there's like a sizzle reel from last fall that has a bunch of like behind the scenes images. Man, it looks awesome. You should check that out. And the trailer looks good too.
Yeah, the trailer they did drop a trailer for this one. So it's definitely worth checking out. It got me excited. That's the entire reason I wanted Joe and I to talk through this. I'm like, dude, the trailer was great. And then
Yeah.
now this has nothing to do with Star Wars, but it's
No.
George Lucas.
Lucasfilm.
So
And it's a show, right?
It's a TV show on Disney Plus. Willow. It looks fun. There's a trailer you can watch for this.
Yeah, it looks very like Harry Potter meets Willow.
I do have to say, when I think back to Willow, I can't remember if it was an okay. I liked it. It didn't. I couldn't ever. But I liked Val Kilmer a whole lot in the show. Is what I remember.
After you guys had texted me that this was going on, and I got on to watch the Andor trailer because I knew I would want to watch that. Then it was like Willow trailer, because everything's like the algorithm's finding me. Yeah. And then it was like click live because it was still going on. And I clicked on it and it was Wicket talking to everybody. And they were talking about Val Kilmer, and he's not in this season. Yeah, but
he can't talk.
It sounds like he might be in season 2, though.
Because he had evidently, I don't know what, I think they're like, he can't speak right now. Like, legit can't speak.
Yeah.
So, like, he
looks terrible.
Yeah. Last thing I saw, they're supposedly finding a way for him to communicate or whatever. Like, but I'm just like, whew.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
No longer the Iceman.
And then there was no trailer for Indiana Jones, but Harrison Ford did come up on stage and talk about it and talk a little bit. And you can guys check that out. It's hard for me with Harrison Ford because he was so old in the Star Wars movie. He was Crystal Skull was so bad at certain spots.
So bad. Well, it makes sense if you're Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Because of his love for like the cinema that he grew up with. But that's been dated for 65 years before he made that movie.
Yeah.
So like the giant ants, the swinging, like all that stuff that he was very nostalgic for, modern audiences were not.
Yeah.
So maybe they learned their lesson. I don't know.
And there's some parts of it they could go back to. It's just one of those, the swinging from the trees with the monkeys and the entire alien twist was just so weird and unnecessary.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
But I'm excited. It's always, those things are fun. Just like when they go to San Diego Con in a couple of weeks, and maybe Marvel or DC's there. Though DC now does their fan day, and then Marvel now does Disney Plus Day or whatever. So
yeah, and Obi-Wan comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, so that I wonder if they're having some watch parties. Which I was stoked, Joe.
I saw one. Yeah.
So I was.
Where did you get these?
This is through Whatnot. I was able to grab some of these exclusives in auctions. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I was able to grab. If you grab these online, these things are hot. This is Tyler Kirkman. Oh, which one? Yeah. This one's Ian Geist. Ian Geist. This is the Virgin version of his. Was it just regular trade cover?
I think so. I think it was two. I think it was B because that's the one I got because I was super excited that it was the one I liked.
Yeah, and then the Kirkman's freaking gorgeous too. But yeah, they're gorgeous covers. I'm very excited I was able to find them on Whatnot, and it was great. Just because I got the B cover, but it's like, without the trade's even more gorgeous.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, he's great. Again, another guy we're fans of here.
So, guys, thank you for watching. If you hung around to the end, please please subscribe. Every week, every Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, we drop this show. We talk about books. It pops into our articles. I love the people. Comic You Crazy. Glad you're here. 00, we missed you. Maybe you're staying up watching Star Wars Celebration. Catch you later, guys.